Hi, I'm Jennifer Elizabeth Masters, and I was just interviewed on the Keith Andrew Network. I highly recommend his show. He's doing a wonderful job.
This is episode 563 of the KeithAndrewNetwork Network. I'm here with the talented Jennifer Elizabeth, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice to be here.
No, absolutely. And we have a special guest today, Miss Jillian. She just nipped my hand, and that really freaking hurt. Didn't tickle. I guess it has a love nip. Anyway, Cat's being a pain in the ass, so I guess she's got to join us. So I'm going to ask you some easy questions, some hard-hitting ones. And the first one I'm going to ask you is, I saw that you were a book author. So who influenced you to become a book author, and how many books have you written?
Who influenced me? Mr. Behringer in 7th grade. I was in junior high school and really liked him. I think he had something like 12 children of his own, and he was just a fabulous English teacher, and he was just really encouraging. And of course that was a long time ago, but it's been interesting that even on my high school website, people are still talking about Mr. Behringer.
Is he still alive, or did he pass away?
I think he is living in North Carolina. I've tried to find him, but have been unable to do so.
Well, you should reach out to him.
I have tried.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, what influenced you to start writing your books?
Well, for about 20 years, I kept hearing voices in my head to write a book. And the book was about abuse, and I couldn't understand why anybody would want to know anything about abuse. But it's not so much about the abuse as much as how did I overcome it? How did I become happy in spite of it? And so I didn't understand that that's what was meant when write a book about abuse. And of course, when that guidance kept coming in, that was really before I was really on the other side of it. I was still suffering from the pain of it.
I hear you. What about, how many books in total have you written?
In total, I've written 5. One of them is still, it's over here, ready to be edited. So I'm sort of in limbo because it's right now about 300 pages, and I'm cutting it to 100. Because it's my sense that today, people are so inundated by information, and they'll pick up a book that's 300 pages, but only read about a third of it.
I hear it. I hear you. And actually, I do have 2 ideas for you. And it's actually 2 questions. One was an idea, the other was a question. Have you ever thought about writing audiobooks?
I've thought about it, and why have I not done it? I started to record my second book, and I really do need to do that. I haven't done it yet. Yes, I've thought about it.
And would he ever be interested in ghostwriting a book?
Possibly.
The reason I asked is a lot of people were saying to me I should write a book about my life, about everything I accomplished. But the truth is, I don't feel satisfied like I reached what I had to. So I'm still working on my dreams, but at the same time I'm thinking maybe that's not a bad idea just to start writing a book. But what would I do? I haven't done my interviews as of late, so my disability shows more. I wrote a book originally. My brother makes fun of it. It was called When You Overcome Controversy, Dreams Do Come True, Even If You Have a Learning Disability. And in the book, I explained, growing up, my lifetime with the family, talked about my parents, and it was filled with spelling errors. But the biggest thing was, besides the spelling errors and grammar, the biggest thing was It was me. I'm not a storyteller. I can tell stories about people a little bit, but I'm not really a storyteller. So for me, it was more like, bitching and moaning. Like, oh, this is what I did in second grade, and this is what I did in third grade, and here are the people that were befriending me, and it's what a drama. So I don't have a desire to write a book. Maybe once I'm on TV, star in a commercial or a movie or something, then I can feel like I reached what I wanted. You know what I mean? You're right now. I'm still like grasping at things because you accomplish everything in your life. So for me, I'm trying to reach up to you, and I'm following in my brother's footsteps, and I'm reaching, climbing that ladder. But I don't feel satisfied saying, okay, now's the time to do it, because there's really nothing to talk about. Yeah, I can talk about, this is what happened, and this is why I just decided to, but you don't have that end part. You don't have that closer saying it's a full story, if that makes any sense.
It does. But at the same time, I would give yourself a break because I've been on the planet a few years longer than you. Quite a few. So, and I sat with that idea of writing a book for 20 years. It took me 20 years before I got to the point where I felt like, okay, I can write about this now. So having the idea is okay. Just don't beat yourself up about it. And I didn't think I was a storyteller until, I started doing more public speaking, and I found that stories, little tidbits of, well, I worked with this client, or this is something I experienced. And when we tell a story, it could be just a little snippet from second grade. For example, for me, I remember my second grade teacher. She was Miss Valenti. I grew up in Canada, and she got married during the school year and then became Mrs. Rose. Now, that is something from a long time ago, but why do I remember that? She was beautiful. She was Italian and gorgeous and wore high heels, and she had a beehive hairdo. That it certainly dates me, but I remember her. So, telling stories about people who impact us, I think, is really important. That it warms my heart, literally. I feel my heart open up when I talk about people that I felt a connection with.
No, absolutely. And I would like to build a connection with you if that's possible. And also, I make people talk. A lot of people say to me, and I give you a perfect example, but then I pass to the next question. A lot of people say, I don't want to be on the show. It's like, because, for an example, I'm a wrestling fan. And I wanted Gail Kim to be on my show. And she's like, oh, I don't do interviews. And I think I said to her, I said something, but like, give me a chance, and I promise you, I will prove to you it's not what you expect. Because a lot of stupid wrestling fans ask you the same questions. How did you like WWE? Did you like TNA? Do you remember this match? Do you remember that match? Well, how was it backstage? What was the politics? Yes, I will ask certain questions, but it's the same thing. I would ask you, how was life growing up? Were you a study nerd or a party animal? What did you major in? What made you decide to do this? What is the end goal? So it's a conversation of pretty much everything. It isn't a wink wink shoot interview that's about wrestling. I'm not obsessed with wrestling, but you wouldn't tell that from the collection of belts I have. And for a correction, those are 2 belts I made. Yes, I am a wrestling fan. That's why I had the WWF Intercontinental Championship. But that's my second belt that I made from Undisputed Belts. And that's the first one I got from Crowns. I can get to that later on, but I'm showing you. Actually, I can just tell you. I wanted something to reward myself with. And then I promise I will stop complaining after this point. Because it's not about me, it's about you.
But I just want to comment
Sure.
that Kevin, it's really
Keith.
important. Keith, it's really important to reward yourself. And I applaud you for doing that. So I apologize. Go ahead.
No, I apologize for telling you the wrong story. The reason I got the first trophy, you see, is because I started in 2013 and I did over 300 interviews. And
Wow.
a long story about it, I'll give you the highlights. So I won a trophy, and everyone's like, you don't buy yourself a trophy is given to you. So my
Right.
brother likes to make fun of me. So like, you should write a book about trophy for me, or I made myself a trophy. I was something stupid like that, like trophy for
Right.
me. And then I had a roadblock, and I had choice doing the show over. Thanks to you, we did another 300 plus, so we're actually up to 563. That's why the black belt's nice. And that's from Undisputed. So we have one from crowns.com where you can make custom trophies. That one is from Undisputed belts. And that one is the WWF Intercontinental belt that my mom got from me from QVC.com. And the point, reason I have them is because, like you said, you have to reward yourself and you have to give yourself something to build your confidence. You can't just say, oh, well, I did 500 interviews. All right, then do something else and have your head in the clouds. When I look at these belts, I remember every single person that I talked to, that I introduced myself to, and that helped me become a better person. The reason I do this show is because, yes, I am socially awkward, but it's therapy for myself. And yes, when I do interview wrestlers, it's not a wank wrestling shoot. It's a normal conversation for a half hour, 33 minutes. You're making a new friend out of it, and you're just having a good time. And people who have this bug up their ass as saying, well, I'm not really sure, or I'm against this, I can't tell you how many times I have heard, it's not for me, I don't want to be on your show, I'm not a talker, I will not enjoy myself. After we did the interview, they said to me, I don't know, it's something about you, but I enjoyed myself. And I'm not making that up or anything. They said, you have a gift, and I had fun talking to you. So, all I'm going to say there, I'm going to ask you the next question, is give me an opportunity, give me a chance to prove myself to you, and that's it. That's all I can say to people, is just give me a chance to prove myself. And if you don't like me, you don't like me. It's not my job to please you. But at least give me the common courtesy of giving me an opportunity.
High five there. High five.
So the next, go ahead.
I just want to say you're absolutely right. It is not your job to please someone else, and that's one of the big things that I deal with all the time with my clients. That people that are unhappy with themselves and unhappy with life, they're trying so darn hard to please everyone else, and then they're miserable. They give to everyone else, but not to themselves. So I want to bring this back to you again because. Whether it's therapy for you or not, this is powerful stuff that you're doing. Not just for you, but for the world too.
I hope so. Now, the next one I was going to mention is you're the master of the soul. So you said you work on health, you said you work on sex, you work on so many different things, and with that being said, how did you become a master of the soul? And why did you want to cover so many topics and subjects that normal people wouldn't touch?
Well, through my own process of healing my own life, I discovered, that I'm not alone with these issues. And so as I got to the other side of them and was able to look back, I see things differently. You know, it's like you climb up a ladder. You might be going to clean the gutters on your house. With each step that you rise, you look back and you see things very differently. Your perspective is totally different. So my perspective is different because I may be on the other side of some of these things. And so I help others overcome their issues. And some people may come to me with a sexual issue. Some people come to me with addictions. I've experienced all of those things too. So I just use the wisdom that I've gained from my own personal experience and healing to help other people. And the people that are most attracted to me, funnily enough, have had a lot of the same issues that I've had. So, you know, when you think about the soul, when you think about the human, well, we are sexual beings, so we could have sexual problems. If we've had challenges with childhood with molestation or abuse, or maybe even just abandonment, you know, some people have been adopted. So all of these layers of things can cause us to not feel happy. And I'm sure that you've encountered some times in your life when you were struggling. And so, you know, I just lift people up to make them feel better about their life by seeing things from a different perspective. Because that's what I did for me.
No, absolutely. And I'm going to put out myself here. I work in a store. I won't mention what I do, but I can tell you off the air. But I'm a cashier.
Okay.
And when I greet someone who I really like, you know, to do the fist pump, you know, for a fist bounce or whatever the hell you call it. That's my way of extending my hand to you in friendship. And when I ring someone up, I ask you the 4 questions. The 4 big questions. 1, did you find everything you need today? Did you find everything you did not need today? Let's see. Actually, why don't you rephrase that? Because, let's see. How do I do it? Okay, your customer, you come in. Hi, how are you today? Did you find everything you need? Did you find everything you did not need? Are you all set for the holidays? You know, how was your Thanksgiving? And then out of curiosity, and my last one, 5 questions actually, I would say out of curiosity, are you on social media? Because I like talking to people, and I like extending my hand in friendship. And the reason I do that is I feel as a talk show host, it makes me more sociable. It makes me feel better about myself. So that's why I do that. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. You know, I don't have to police you and say.
No.
But the next thing I'm going to ask you is something that caught my interest. Is you are a coach, and you're also, I guess, a self-taught hypnosis.
No, not self-taught. No, I went through a very long course back in 1998. It took hypnosis, hypnotherapy, NLP, and then in 2011 I became a trainer of hypnotherapy and NLP as well.
No,
yeah.
What can
so
you...
I'm definitely certified, not self-taught.
So what can you tell us about that? How did you become a coach, and what interests you about working with self-hypnosis?
Well, the thing about hypnosis is that I think it helped me understand the mind. So much of our issues are below the surface. Excuse me, like with an iceberg, you know. The iceberg, there's only this much above the surface, and the major part of it is unseen. Well, that's the way it is with us. Most people are unaware of what their blocks and issues are because they're hidden. So I help people uncover what those blocks are that they can't see or feel. And when we see what the blocks are, because when we're upset with someone, like if somebody says something to us and we get triggered and upset, we like to point our finger at the other person and go, you did this to me. But meanwhile, we're the ones that are upset, not the other person. And so if we're triggered That's something below the surface that we can't see, but we get upset about it. So when we are able to uncover what those root causes are, it's amazing how our life changes for the better.
No,
So
I agree.
that's what I like about hypnotherapy.
What about, have you ever hypnotized someone?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have. Many people.
Have you ever pulled any pranks on them? Say, like turn
No.
them into a duck or a dog?
No, no. I use it for therapy, not for poking fun or making somebody embarrassed. That's not my thing.
Well, how would one go about learning hypnosis?
Well, there are courses around, where people teach it. I know of several. There's quite a few courses on it. For me personally, I use it in my business. I use it with my clients. I had a woman that came to me. She'd been kidnapped over a 3-day weekend and viciously attacked. And I won't go into all the details, but 40 years later, it still caused her problems with fear. And so with 2 sessions, it totally changed her life. I mean, in amazing ways. She had a landscape business that wasn't getting off the ground. And after we did those sessions, she now has an award-winning landscape business. But it wasn't doing anything prior to the hypnotherapy sessions.
Now, do you think I would benefit from having those sessions?
I think everybody could. The thing about hypnotherapy is that it gets below the surface in the areas that we're unaware of, things that we wouldn't normally see that could cause us problems and issues. So you've mentioned a couple of times that your brother makes fun of you.
Yeah.
And my brother used to make fun of me. And the interesting thing is that in our household, and I know this is the case in many, when there's multiple children, the parents let it go.
Yep.
And I think it's a huge mistake because it's a form of abuse. It's a form of bullying, and it causes terrible trauma to the child. And in my case, so I have a nose like we all do, but my brother used to call me Nose. And there's a lot of other history I won't go into right now, but for the longest time, I was afraid to turn sideways, for anyone to see my profile because I had such a thing about the way I looked. And, I overcame that, came to a place where I lovingly accept myself the way I am, which I urge others to do. But a trauma like that can really cause us some deep insecurities. So those are things that, that I help people work through.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you one more subject, and I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Okay.
Vanessa Lina. Adrian Lotto. Allie Heigl. This is Cynthia Bastinet. I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith. My name is Alexandra Bowie. My name is Amelia Clover. Hi, I'm Amy Linden. Hi, I'm Anita Nicole Brown.
Meg Green.
Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell. Hi, everybody, I'm Brooke.
Hi, I'm Brinford.
Hi, I'm Casey Dunn.
Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky.
Hi, I'm Christina Briza.
I'm Cindy Hogan. I'm Courtney Sinella. Hi, I'm Daisy.
My name is Deborah Jane East.
Hi, my name is Danielle Marcia.
Hi, everyone, I'm Victoria London.
Hi, I'm Heather Crona.
Hi,
I'm Heather Callahan Stevens.
Hi, I'm J. Nicole Ralph.
My name is Jamie Patrol. My name is Turi. My name is Julia Brankovich.
Kathleen Wills.
Kimberly Amato.
Hi, my name is Laura Putton.
Hi, I'm Laura Chapanis.
Hi, everyone, I'm Melissa Damas.
This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia. I'm Rachel Rivera.
Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount.
Hi, I'm Susan Render.
Hi, everyone, this is Venus Leone.
Hi, I'm Showtana.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show. It was super
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of the Keith Andrew Network. I'm here with Jennifer Elizabeth. This is part 2 of the second half of the episode after we take a commercial break. Now it's the last 9 minutes left and counting. The first question I'm going to ask you is social media. can social media make you or break you? And with everything you accomplish, from being a book author, speaker, coach, hypnosis, with everything you accomplish in your life, do you think social media plays a part or dictates if people should work with you or not? And how do you feel about it?
Social media is definitely it's a great medium to market your business. And today, if you're not on social media, you're not. So I would say that, having a consistent brand that people know what you do. And, when I first started my business, I didn't have the business acumen. I didn't know how to be a business person. I was an entrepreneur and a healer, but I didn't know the business portion. And I have hired high-end coaching, which has helped me tremendously and helped me hone my skills and develop a tighter niche so that people know what I do. That, Jennifer Elizabeth Masters, that, my core work is love yourself fearlessly. I help people love themselves. I help people manifest. So you have to have a consistent brand across social media so people know what you stand for, what you do. And you asked, could it break you? Well, absolutely, because if you're not consistent, if you're all over the map, people don't understand what you do. It could be a lose-lose for you as well.
No, absolutely. Now it's the last 8 minutes left. Was there anything you wanted to know? Anything you want to talk about?
Well, I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Because for you to be out here in the public eye when you have had your own challenges, you've overcome a lot, haven't you?
I have.
So how did you manage to overcome the fear of being on camera and out and accessible to the world? I'd like to know that.
All right. Well, I'm not the same person who I was back about, I graduated high school in 06, so 10, 11, 12, about 12 years ago. I'm not the same person. Even going back when I first started in retail about 13 years ago, I'm not the same person. And I always used my learning disability as a crutch. Oh, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I don't have to work for it because as soon as I tell them I have a learning disability, people would do things for me or hand me things, and everything would be handed on a silver platter. And then I realized, it's a boomerang because you throw it, and it's like, okay, you're doing this, you're saying that. But when the boomerang's got to come back and whack you in outside the head, you realize you just labeled yourself as an influence and saying you can't do anything yourself. And there's a lot of different variations of the story. I used my dad for an inspiration. I used my brother for an inspiration. But the biggest thing for me was I got tired of sitting at the dinner table with everyone. Because my brother before me, are you still there? Hi.
I am still here, yes.
My brother before me used to say, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to do. My parents used to say, well, talk to your brother. He knows people. He can point you in the right direction. Don't talk to your sister. And I'm like, and I used to say, what about me? And I got tired of saying that. What about me? What about me? Like, well, you're not educated. You're not qualified. You piss people off. You talk too much. You can't hold down a job. You read and learn at a high school level. And you're not qualified to do anything. And you're going to be a burden. You're going to be placed into a group home. And I got tired of hearing that. So I said, screw it. I'm going to show you with a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And I started my talk show. I went from the phone. I'll give you an example. I did 72 phone interviews back in 2013. And I was still having panic attacks. I was having social anxiety and everything. And like, this is stupid. I'm talking on the phone, but yeah, I still have an anxiety. So then I changed the format to this. Right, there you go. So as you see the reflection of yourself on the camera, that's what the camera would pick up. That's season 1. And in season 2, it's like, okay, here's the camera. It's now recording from what the computer screen says. So you recorded from the phone, from the computer screen. And a lot of people said, and even said to my brother, and he said to me, I came across your brother's show. Why is he hiding? If he really wants to take this seriously, he should really put himself out there and upgrade his video quality. And then I discovered Skype Recorder. Now it's cut in half. I'm on the right, you're on the left, or we can flip it, where I'm on the left, you're on the right. And for the past 5.5 years, you saw a process from the phone, from recording from the phone, from recording from the computer, from having Skype Recorder, and eventually I will have my own studio. Eventually. And I'm showing this process, and when I used to work in retail, I used to hide behind things. I used to work for North Face. It was an okay company, I just say like that, but didn't really understand me. Long story about that. But I used to walk over to people. It's like, hey, my name's Keith. I work over in, I never said I worked over at North Face because they were in North Face. I say, hey, my name is Keith. If you need anything, let me know. But I used to hide behind the badge. Now that I have an accomplishment in my talk show, I have a reason to walk over and be like, hey, I'm Keith Andrew. Very nice to meet you. So you look back at the process I had to go through. No one helped me with this. I did everything myself. So it was a learning process. It took me a long time, but it helped me. Because I had horrible panic attacks and depression and social anxiety. But doing this helps me interact with people in the real world.
Yes. The other thing, the thing that I heard you say is that you went from making excuses about why you couldn't do things to coming to a place of no excuses, and I can do this, I will make it happen. And so that's a shift in perspective, which is tremendous, and I commend you for it, because what you did was you turned, instead of focusing on the problem, and this is what I teach all the time, instead of focusing on the problem, I'll never amount to anything, I can't do this. You turned the other way and you said, how can I do this? And when we start asking questions, how can I? How could it be effort and easy for me to do this? The whole world opens up to you, and then the world becomes your oyster. So congratulations.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up our interview, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, how can people follow you on social media? And when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? And after being a guest, would you recommend it to others? And how do you feel now?
My opinion was that you're an amazing soul and that you've moved beyond your limitations to become something greater than what you once were. And that is, it's highly commendable. So, and I am thrilled to have been a part of this show. I thank you so much for having me. I am very grateful.
No, absolutely. I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. Stay tuned for Off the Air. I do have a couple questions for you. But
thanks, Keith.
Wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. Now I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.